I'm all for us going to Mars and having a base on Mars, a base on the moon, uh, and living on different planets. Humans going and doing that. I think that's beautiful. I think that's a great thing. Um, Potentially having a city on these types of surfaces, but I don't hear anybody talking about, and there could be some out there, and I know that there's some underwater structures, um, like in the depths of ocean, so people who work at the bottom of the ocean have somewhere to relax, sleep, and do their thing when they're not working. But I think that construction of underwater cities would be a very viable option. You know, they're talking about the Green New Deal and taking everything away from, like, redoing all the infrastructure, and it costing so much money, like 50 billion or whatever. I think that we need to engineer underwater cities. I think that it would be a great move, because if people are really scared about climate change and the rise of the oceans, um, a good place would be for humans to have some type of colony is in an underwater city. Now, I understand the technology isn't there. We can't just make a Los Angeles type of city underneath the water, like in an ocean. But I think that, I mean, there's earthquakes and stuff like that underwater too. The problem, if they can figure out what would be the safest place to build an underwater city, and like it might just be a little town or whatever, that's self-sustaining. It desalinizes the water, so you have so much water. You don't have to worry about running out of water. You grow your own food, um, and you sustain life in this underwater city. I think that is probably a lot easier to do than try to populate different worlds. I've heard that we've only explored 5% of the oceans. Um, I've heard this like years ago, where every single day we find different life under the ocean, in the ocean. So finding some stable place where you can have an underwater structure where you can have a bunch of people living, I think would be very viable. Instead of like, I think I would rather live in an underwater city than in some bunker, some depressing, you know, bunker underneath the earth, like 30 feet underneath the earth for like however many years if there's a nuclear fallout. Um, it just makes a lot of sense, um, for humanity to do this. Um, I think it's probably pretty safe. I mean, you're safe from storms, violent storms. I mean, you have to worry about earthquakes, so if they can make it like earthquake proof or whatever. Um, but yeah, I know it would be really hard to try to do this. I don't know how they would even go about it. Using some type of glass or mix of glass and plastic, like extremely thick. I mean, you probably wouldn't even go too far underneath the ocean, maybe 100 feet, like, because I don't know. Like, I'm not an expert, but I'm just saying this is an idea, and I'm sure that people have already had this type of idea. But it's like, why aren't we doing it? Why aren't we exploring this idea of trying to make underwater structures where people can sustain themselves in these structures, um, to avoid the climate crisis, especially like if they think that the world's going to end, um, and living on the surface of the earth is like there is a lot of dangers living on the surface of the earth, on the land. But if we can recreate that in an underwater structure where it's safe, um, that'd be awesome. Could you imagine going outside and then just looking up, and it's kind of like you're living in an aquarium. Like you go to aquariums and then you see all the sea life and everything. Um, and obviously you can make like weapons too if there's some type of underwater creature that we don't know about that's massive that could be a threat to the city. Eliminate it or have it captured or whatever, tranquilized, and then um, that way. Obviously, go to different planets, but I think that would be a pretty good option. Um, I don't know, like I just don't hear anybody talking about it. I don't hear anybody pursuing it. I know it would cost a ton of money to do that. You can start out small. Um, like I said, make like a little town. Like you don't have to make a lot, like I said, a Los Angeles style city, but like start out with, like, and then build your way up for different places. I don't know, just something I thought of, and because I'm weird and I think of all kinds of weird stuff. But we're going to a different age of innovation, and like people probably think like at some point in the future we'll probably have floating cities. I mean, this is even like the underwater city thing is probably not viable for in my lifetime. Same with the floating city, but it could possibly happen in the future because like, when you look at the AI technology just getting smarter and smarter, it's going to help people solve problems, come up with different ideas along working with the AI, because the AI is going to be like it's going to far surpass our intelligence. When we, it's like we're ants compared to it, and it's probably a billion times smarter than that. But it's going to assist us. It's going to help us. It's going to have, maybe we come up with the ideas, but it does like a lot of the hard work and a lot of the information we wouldn't think about, and help us create things that we could never imagine before, by solving problems that we aren't smart enough to solve at this point. I was looking at a Nikola Tesla documentary. I listened to two of them this weekend, and it's pretty amazing. That guy, most of our luxuries nowadays, which they are, is they're luxuries, comforts. The technology that is made nowadays is a spin-off of whatever he created. And he wanted to create free electricity for everyone. And I think that that's something that we need. We need free power to get off of these inefficient ways to create electricity for us. It makes you wonder, because like think about it. Yeah, they got the vehicles that are electricity and stuff. With gas cars, it's not innovated that much. I mean, they still only get like 34 miles a gallon for brand new cars, and it's like, how the hell are we only still getting like 34 miles a gallon for cars? We should be getting like hundreds of miles a gallon for cars at this point. And I've heard of people having cars run off of water, or, you know, not needing gas as much to work. And these people disappear, and you never hear about their patents, or people have their patents bought out by these big companies and they don't want to implement these patents because they don't make money. But we're getting to a point where it's like these companies have so much money or value that, like, you already have enough power, man. Now you need to start giving back to humanity. You need to start creating good, clean energy. If humans have thought of ways to make things more efficient and cleaner for the environment, it needs to come out and happen, instead of us just sitting. Like, if we don't even need to use oil or gas anymore because some people have thought of technology that we don't need it, then why are we using it? Why are they being suppressed? Why are these patents being suppressed? We need to take care of our planet. I'm not one of these people that are thinking that we're going to a climate crisis with climate change, and I think that climate always has changed and it always will change. I don't think it's as extreme as, AOC saying, 4 years ago, we got 12 years and then we're done. I've heard of, like, in the 70s, it was a gas shortage, like we're going to run out of oil one day. And then, in the 90s, when I was a teenager, they were talking about the ozone layer. And I guess the ozone layer's healed since then. And, if there is technologies to make things more efficient, we need to use those technologies. And these people who are greedy corporations need to let up off of these technologies, especially if it's such a threat to our planet like they're saying it is. I personally don't believe them, because I think, like, if they really thought that our planet was coming to an end, then why are they using so much of a carbon footprint themselves? They have these big mansions or palaces. They fly out across the world in these Learjets, they're private jets. They have these massive yachts, what I've worked with before. They take up a lot of energy. They should be the first, if they really believe what they're saying, to be living off of grid and being in self-sustaining type of environments that are environmentally friendly, but they're not. That's why I'm really skeptical of what they say. I'm not saying like everything they're saying is wrong, but we've always had icebergs melting. Like that's what, ever since I was a kid, I've always heard that icebergs are melting, a shelf fell off. Well, it's been falling off for 30 years. I don't see massive oceans rising. And like I said, if we have the technology, we're getting to the point where we need technology to save us, to help us. And if technology is going to go against people's capitalistic endeavors, they need to give it up. They already live in a lavish lifestyle. There's not much more of a lavish. What else can you live? Like, how much? You're not going to live a more lavish lifestyle than these people. So why do you need to keep collecting more money? What I like about Elon is he is worth a ton of assets. He's worth a ton. But at least he's trying to do something good instead of being greedy. He bought Twitter at the worst possible time he could buy it. And he's trying to innovate. It's probably going to be, the central social media payment site, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, all in one, where people are going to and it's bad that it's decentralized, but if he can make it decentralized in the system, um, it probably might even become as like its own internet. I don't know, but it's a free speech platform. Pretty much not all the way, but it has a lot of. I can talk on there without having to worry about being banned, having just a discussion. Um, and he's trying to make technology good for the like for the future. Electric cars are good if we have clean energy that are manufacturing these cars and um, running them. So like he's doing good. What is Jeff Bezos doing? Well, yeah, it's cool that we can order whatever we want online. Pretty much, it's on their site, and then have it delivered to our house. That's awesome. That's good. But these gigantic companies, these oil companies, and all these companies that possibly have patents to make things better, and they're just not like. It's like, dude, if we why would we stay doing the horse and carriage if we have cars? You know what I mean? Why would we continue to have people do manual labor forcibly in the fields if we have technology that can do that for us? How many jobs have been created because of the innovation of technology? We, there comes a point where, like I said, you have so much influence, power, money, luxury that what's the point? What's the point? You're not helping anybody. You're just extracting. And that's where I feel like these big wigs aren't helping things. They're not, because they keep on taking and taking and taking from the little people. They don't give back and make the environment better. Look at the cities in America. Look how dilapidated they are. The city that I'm living in was going to be Kansas City. It was going to be Kansas City. And it ended up not being Kansas City. I look at the structures and the architecture here is amazing, but what do I see? It's dilapidated. A lot of these structures are not maintained, and there's a lot of crime here, and it's a trashy area. And that's why a big reason why I want to move is it feels trashy. There's trash all over the place. It's not pretty. And cities should be pretty, man. Cities should be somewhere where you don't feel like you have to worry about crime. You don't have to. There's people that need to be in insane asylums. We need to have those. But it seems like these prisons make a lot of money off of people being in prison. So, I mean, I seen a graph where the amount of people in prisons are way up compared to back in the day, and then insane asylums, it's way down. So some people need to be taken care of. Some people need to be not amongst the community. And there needs to be reform camps where people who are on drugs help them get off of drugs. And it needs to be forced, because you shouldn't be like sitting here shitting in the streets or living in front of businesses. Like cities should be clean and beautiful. Not have to worry about crime, not have to worry about watching your back. It should be peaceful. It should be fun. It should be something that someplace where you want to go. But that's what I'm saying. These people don't give back. They just extract, and then they let the communities. It's like how much these people are pretty much parasites, and they're not doing anything to give back to the host. They just keep taking and taking, and then the host dies. Then what? Then what are you gonna do? Live in a bunker for the rest of your life? Like that just sounds like might as well just be in prison. I don't know, man. It's just the thought process of people nowadays is so immature and so small minded, and it's aggravating.